Hello everybody and welcome to the first update video for the build Demon Hunter on Titan Quest Anniversary Edition. My name is Phaethodas and let's jump to the presentation of the changes that happened to this build during the epic difficulty playthrough of the campaign. Starting with the masteries in the Hunting Mastery, what I did was to continue developing the marksmanship skill and finally to max it out. So the current level of the skill is 13 out of 12, because I gain +1 to all skills in the Hunting Mastery by my chest armor item. But when I use my bow, this skill goes up to level 15, because my new bow gives +1 to all skills in Hunting Mastery and +1 to marksmanship. I also upgraded the add-on of this skill, Scatter Shot Arrows. So my arrows release more fragments when they hit enemies and make more enemies start bleeding and lose some life points until they come for close combat, so then it will be easier for me to kill them faster this way. I also plan to develop even further the add-on Puncture Shot Arrows in the 3rd difficulty level of the game. So with this my arrows will have more chances to pass through enemies and hit others beyond them. I maxed out the skill Volley, so it becomes even more helpful by having 17% more chance to launch 3 projectiles instead of 1. For this skill we will talk again in a moment. Now let's go to the Dream Mastery. The first big change in this mastery is that I removed all the skill points from the Trance of Wrath and used them instead in the Trance of Convalescence. I did this change when I reached the second half of the last act of the campaign, because at that point this build started to feel like it's becoming a glass cannon build. So I made this change to make my life easier. The next change in this mastery is that all the skills are on +1, because now I use an item which grants +1 to the Dream Mastery. This is a very nice bonus. So my Lucid Dream and Temporal Flux skills are maxed out and on +1, and in the second playthrough I started developing the Premonition skill, which boosts our defensive and offensive abilities. This skill will be maxed out in the future. The next big change is that the Psionic Touch skill is currently on level 14 out of 12, which is the natural cap of the skill. 12 is the natural cap of the skill. And the Psionic Burn is on level 11 out of 8. The Psionic Burn is on +3 levels above the natural cap, because currently I use one item which gives +1 to all skills of this mastery and another item which gives +2 to the skills Psionic Burn and +2 to the skill Psionic Touch. So both of these skills are on +3 levels. This is why the Psionic Burn is level 11 when its cap is level 8, and the Psionic Touch is on level 14 while its cap is level 12. Now, if I had maxed out the Psionic Touch skill on level 12, the current level would not be 14, but it would be 15, from the +3 levels we get from items. But it is level 14 because there is one skill point left to invest to this skill and reach its natural cap. Let me take off the two items so you can see what I'm talking about. As you can see, the current level of the skill without the items boosting it is 11 out of 12. I am showing this to you so it becomes easier for new players mostly to understand this mechanic. The next change we have to this build is that the skill Temporal Rift is now maxed out and on +1 level 2. With this skill on level 13 we deal 576 electrical burn damage over 4 seconds, 15% energy drain, which also deals 210% of energy drain deals damage, 4.5 seconds of petrify and plus 190 damage to demons. The petrify effect is very important. It helps really great and it can really save our lives in tough situations. With this skill, monsters stop moving for 4.5 seconds and we can attack them without having the fear of dying for that period of time. Also, we can use this skill to petrify enemies and run away if we feel that we cannot win the battle at the moment. And the last change in the skills is that the skill Psionic Immolation have been maxed out and on +1 level it deals 596% electrical burn over 4 seconds and plus 50% damage to demons. So, those are the changes in the skill area of this build that happened during the epic difficulty playthrough of the campaign. Now, let's see the items. The items that haven't changed from the previous playthrough are the chest armor, the boots, the amulet, and one of the rings, the alky. Let's see the new items for the build. Artifact, Sphere of Eternity. We get plus 15% physical damage against enemies, 36 life leads over 3 seconds, stun resistance and the most important, +1 to the Dream Mastery and plus 50% damage to undead. Also we get Pierce resistance, which is very important too. For the Hands armor, I have equipped the Warrior's Bracers set item. It gives a good armor, a good amount of shield block, plus 25% physical damage, which is very nice, more health points and a great boost on attack speed of 29%. Also it gives +2 to the skill weapon training, which is irrelevant to this build. In the head slot I am using the green helm, which I was telling you about in the first video of this build. The helm that gave me the inspiration to create this build. This helm gives 552 armor, which is one of the top armor numbers we can get from helms in this game. If I remember right, the biggest number is 600. If any of you remember the numbers, please write a comment so we know which is the highest number. Also, this helm provides more armor, more strength and plus 70 damage to demons. I have enchanted this helm with a relic which gives 36 dexterity points and plus 8% attack speed. This helm will not get replaced because this build is created for this helm, unless I find a legendary or green helm which will be even stronger, better helm, and will absolutely provide more damage to demons. Now for the ring. This legendary ring, which is called Arbrew Ring, replaced the epic Phantom Bane ring that you see here. This blue ring is very nice for this build because it gives plus 70% damage to both demons and undead. But I've decided to replace it with this legendary one because this gives plus 2 levels to the skills Psionic Touch and Psionic Burn. The bad thing about replacing that ring with this legendary is that we lose the bonuses against demons and undead, and it's bad because this bonus works with both melee and ranged attacks. So, against these types of enemies, both our bow and melee weapons deal more damage, while the plus 2 to these two skills we get from this ring works only with our melee weapon on this specific setup. If we wanted, we could use Psionic Touch with our bow too. It works with bows also. But this would mean we would not use the marksmanship skill with our bow, and we don't want that to happen. So this is a bad thing. The good thing from this change of rings is that half or even more of the battles end up becoming close combat battles. So we use our melee weapon very often. So in this case, this ring becomes more effective because it is useful not only to demons and undead, but to every enemy out there. For the bow, now we have the legendary Teuker's Warbow. It gives good bonus damage, physical and elemental resistances, a big boost to attack speed of 30%, at plus 1 to the marksmanship skill and plus 1 to all skills in hunting mastery. So actually we get plus 2 to the marksmanship skill with this bow. This is a great bow, at least for now. Also we have a new shield to this setup, the legendary Wall of the Damned. This is a great shield. We get sleep resistance, a big amount of reduced entrapment duration, 10% chance of 357% damage reflected, which is amazing, plus 15% total damage, which is outstanding, more dexterity and energy points, and a big boost to health points too. The great thing about this shield is the skill it gives, the Vision of Death, which is activated upon taking melee damage. This skill has a 14 seconds recharge period, and the most important of its abilities, I would say that it's the 5.9 seconds of fear it causes to enemies. Just think a scenario where you are surrounded by 6 enemies, for example. They hit you and this skill gets activated. Then all the enemies are getting scared and they start running away from you. While they run away, you equip your bow, and without making a single step from the position you are, you start shooting them down. This skill is amazing and it truly saves lives. And now for the last item, the weapon. I found and used this legendary spear, the Reach of Helios. This spear is perfect for this Demon Hunter build because it provides plus 45% damage to demons. Also, it has Some other great stats: 33% chance of 188 fire damage. These numbers are random, by the way. It gives 9% of attack damage converted to health, which works amazingly well with this build. Good fire and lighting resistances, a good bonus to health points, a bit of health regeneration per second, and a good 22% attack speed. I don't know if I will find something more suited for this build. Maybe this spear will be the standard melee weapon for this Demon Hunter build. So, those are the changes to the items. Now, I wanted to say something about the skill Volley. This skill has a good chance to launch 3 projectiles instead of 1 when we are using bow or spear. When using spear, it means that the spear deals 3 melee hits instead of 1. The spear doesn't release any projectiles, of course, it is not a ranged weapon. So, the great thing about this skill is its synergy with the skill Psionic Touch of the Dream Mastery. The Psionic Touch has 3 charge levels, and on the 4th charge it deals its plus total damage. This means that we hit a target with this skill 3 times, and the 4th time we hit the target, the skill deals the total damage bonus. When we are using a spear with this skill, Psionic Touch, and the Volley skill, then we deal even more of the total damage of Psionic Touch, because the 3 charges this skill requires to release the total damage boost are happening even faster. For example, let's say that to do 1 hit with our spear it takes 1 second of time. So 1 hit equals 1 second. To do 3 hits for the charges of this skill it takes 3 seconds. And plus 1 second for the 4th hit to release the bonus equals to 4 seconds. Now, when the Volley skill gets activated to the first hit, then the 3 hits, which equals to 3 seconds, are counted only to the first hit, thus to the first second. And so the 4th hit happens to the second, meaning that the Psionic Touch deals double the damage over time when the Volley skill gets activated. This is just an example, so you may easier understand this mechanic, especially if you are a new player to this game, and the numbers I used on this example are just hypothetical. How fast a hit happens depends on the attack speed of our character after all, or the casting speed if we are using a casting build. So I think the last thing we can say for now is that I finished the campaign on the epic difficulty with 31 deaths. Yes, they are many deaths. Why did I die so many times? Just look up here those stats. Minus 40% on both bleeding and vitality resistances is a no-go. Also, my cold resistance is very low, the same with poison and piercing too. Actually, except fire, which is on maximum, all my resistances are low or very low, which means that yes, this build is powerful, but this becomes a glass cannon build. The hero becomes fragile, especially after Olympus and during the last act of the campaign. So we are going to find out in the future how can this build survive and perform in the last difficulty of the game. Of course, most of the items could change, and this means this could get better, but we will find out soon enough. That's it with this update, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching this video. If you like what you see, hit the like button and subscribe. More videos are coming very soon. Stay healthy. Bye.